Yeah. Okay. So we were speaking about Azure. Let us just have a look at what Azure portal says. This is the official Azure portal. We'll just see. There is a build conference which happened recently um, from May 6th to 8th in Seattle. It is a conference wherein there were major announcements on Azure. So there are many things which are happening in the market, and especially in the Azure market. The competition is high from AWS, so Azure has to be on its toes to compete. And there are major things which are announced. If you just look at the fundamental features of Azure and what Azure says. So you have, it is a productive cloud. So what do you mean by productive cloud? It has more than 100 services with great end-to-end tools to make you successful, essentially. The services which we saw yesterday. All of these are services. We have more than 100 services which Azure offers. So right from basic ASP.NET website hosting to machine learning, ML, artificial intelligence, your AI, cognitive services, and stuff like that. So you have multiple features which you can go ahead. What is that? I got something. Okay. Some I don't know. I think it's a question to Lakshmi Narayana, so he can just answer. It's not me, right? So I can just carry on. So there are many Azure services which can be, which actually can be used in your portal, in your Azure ecosystem. We've seen this. We just had a look at these things. Then you have something like a hybrid deployment. So what do you mean by hybrid? There are clients like the banking client. So let me just speak about a banking client and hybrid environment. So your hybrid environment, I have it somewhere here. That's your hybrid environment. What's hybrid? You have a database like a banking customer. He says when he wants to store his application, when he wants to publish his application, he can publish it using Azure portal. So you can go to Azure portal, or if he is an ASP.NET application, go to Azure portal and host your ASP.NET application. But when it comes to database, he can also host his database on the Azure cloud. But who will own the database? When a banking customer hosts the database in the cloud, who will own it? It will be Microsoft. Microsoft owns the database, but you would be given access to it from your virtual machine, from your Azure portal, and all. Banking kind of customers don't trust anyone. They don't trust their employees. So how can they trust some other company? So they're very secure about their data and their data integrity. So what if the data is hijacked and what if it is leaked? These are their common problems. They will not trust anyone. What they'll say, I'll use Azure, but only host my website here. My database has to be with me. I want it in my premises. That is what is on-prem. Your on-premises, that's on-prem. So I want my database to be on my building. I don't want my database to be in the cloud. These are very common things which customers say these days, and that's where comes your hybrid solution. What is your hybrid solution? You essentially don't have all the parts of your application on the cloud. You only have partially the application on the cloud. So your website would be on the cloud. The database would be on your company's corporate server. You need to connect from your cloud to your database, and then the entire architecture would work. That is what is hybrid solution. So most of the customers out there, at least 60% of them are hybrid. So it is nothing like everyone. 40% of them are completely cloud, but 60% of them out there are hybrid. So what is the hybrid solution? We just spoke about it. Azure supports hybrid solutions. That's our hybrid solution. And coming to the next point, what is highlighted in the website, intelligent. You can build intelligent services for your application. What do you mean by intelligent services? Did you ever see application insights? Let me just open it. So just look at this. That's what is application insights. All of this is understood by Azure. I did not code even a line of code to show all this. It will understand my application. Once I integrate my application, you log any of your applications whenever you are creating applications, right? Whenever you are creating applications, you go ahead and log the data of your app. So you go ahead and log your data of your app. Whenever you're logging your data, you would use tools like .NET, Log4net kind of framework, or any other different kinds of framework which are available for logging. If you use this guy, application insights, I'll say AI, it's not artificial intelligence, it is application insights. When I use application insight to log the information, it will go ahead and log the information. Apart from that, when I use application insights, it will give me a detailed view of what's happening with my application. Look at what it is doing. How many users are there? For the last 7 days, how many users visited you? Last 20 days, how many users visited you? What are the page views? Hello, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Lakshmi Narayana? Can you hear me now? I think I'm audible. So I don't know why it lost connectivity. I don't know why it just disconnected. My audio is fine. So what I was speaking about, so the number of page views which are happening on your website. From what parts of the world is your website being used? What are the number of requests or the users per day? All of these stats are built by application insights. I will not even write a single line of code. Okay, great. So I will not even write a single line of code to do all this. There is not even a line of code which you need to write to show these graphs and thing in the output. You see how many people are using Chrome, Internet Explorer and stuff to access your website. What are the operating systems they are using? What are the unique session count? What are the sessions which are happened on your machine? Look at the amount of data which is generated for you depending upon what your application is and how vast is your application. It will go ahead and pump out all this data. That's the beauty of application insights. So when you are using Azure DevOps and when you are using logging frameworks, you have to speak about application insights in your interviews, because we don't use regular logging. If you speak about Log4net kind of logging in your interview, you will be quick to catch that he would doubt your experience because we will not log our code by using anything other than application insights. Why? Because of the rich things which it will give you out of box. These are all out of box. I did not code anything for it. That's what is intelligent. We diverted from there, right? That's intelligent for you. So your cloud is pretty intelligent. It has many intelligent services which you can use. One of the service is your application insights kind of a service. Then you have it is trusted. Now you have in the news, Pentagon is asking Microsoft Azure and AWS to host its data. So when Pentagon can store data, Pentagon is the military outfit of America. So when Pentagon can host its data inside these service providers like Azure and AWS, you can just imagine what is the amount of trust that you can have on these cloud service providers. So it's heavily trustable, and many government agencies like CIA, FBI of USA have stored their data inside cloud, and it is pretty secure. These are very secured data services which are provided by Microsoft Cloud. Where all is it present? 54 regions, more than any cloud provider. So it is the highest by any cloud provider. Even it is beyond AWS. That's its competitor, right? So that's why I keep speaking about AWS. So how many regions? It is around 54 regions across the world. All of what you see there are the regions of Azure. That's where Azure is deployed. So you have multiple places where Azure is available. The next thing, Fortune 500 companies. 95% of Fortune 500 companies are using Azure, and new Azure subscriptions per month. These are the number of Azure subscriptions per month which are happening. It will even increase over coming days. I'll just click on it. It will even increase in coming days, and Azure would become one of the popular frameworks or popular service provider when it comes to cloud service providing. And the organizations which are using Azure. These are all the big organizations which are using Azure. All of this. So you name it, and that organization is on Azure. What are the services which you can build? These are the services. Your Internet of Things, your IoT, which is your devices like your mobile phone and all the other devices, the small handy devices which you have, and your laptop and desktop, and all the devices which you own. Everything speaking to each other. That is what is Internet of Things. And there are quite a few services which are available inside Azure to help me work with IoT, with Internet of Things. And SAP, the other big giant which handles pretty much everything to deal with the organization's infra and their HR payrolls and stuff. So your SAP, that's another thing which is on Azure. So you can integrate SAP directly with Azure and your artificial intelligence, which is pretty much fancy. It can do many things for me, but now, as of now, we don't have that much of adaptability with AI with the live projects. So any live projects out there, they're not using AI to that extent. But it will grow over time, and it will gain the market space as the time goes by. But it will take its time. And AI is supported in your Azure cloud. You have multiple AI bots which you can build. You can build bots. So if you are familiar with it, you can go ahead and build bots. Your robots bot is taken out. You can build your bots using artificial intelligence. Then you have DevOps. That is what we are doing, right? So we have DevOps integration support for your DevOps team inside Azure. Gaming support, pretty straightforward. Blockchain, your blockchain kind of an environment. If you want to build a blockchain kind of an environment inside your infra, then you have support for that as well. Big data analytics, all of your big data. There is huge data which is being pumped by you and me daily from our devices, especially our mobile devices. My mobile knows where did I travel today, from which location to which location. From my location tracing service, my mobile has already given that data to Google, saying mine is an Android device. If it is an iOS, then your Apple network already knows from where did you travel, from where to where. It knows my travel details. Whom did I call? It knows my call details. Whom did I message and whom am I chatting with? It knows my messaging details. Where am I currently now? What is my current location in on the globe? Where am I exactly located? All of that data is being leaked and is being sent from your mobile phone to Google, and this is what they call as big data. There is huge data, and even though you are looking at Facebook, you just share what you are doing and what is happening in your life freely to the entire world. All of your personal details. What are the people whom you meet and whom you usually get along with? All of that data is present inside Facebook and social media networking. All of this data is what is big data. Big data is essentially huge data which is present for all the customers on the globe. They are collecting this data in terabytes of storage. Once you have big data, you need to analyze and see what you can make out of it. How can I make out a graph out of big data? You should see what's happening in that thread. When I actually, let me just give you an example how Google tracks me. I just search for rented accommodation around my area. I just go to some rented accommodation websites and I'll search for a house. I will do some browsing for another 10 minutes. I'll come out of it. For the next 1 week or 2 weeks, whatever website I visit, the page ads will show me rented houses across all the ads. How is it showing me rented houses? I did not ask it, right? I just searched for it 10 minutes. How am I seeing the same ad in multiple websites? Google understands that I am looking for a house. Now all my ads are related to house-related ads, so that I click on it and he gets paid for it. He studies me. I search for a mobile on Flipkart or Amazon. I search for it for 10 minutes and I close it and just keep on browsing to other websites. What are the ads which you see? Mobile ads that buy this mobile. They study you. Depending upon your mood and what you are doing currently, your ads are related to your mood and your current searches. The searches are being tracked. So that is what is happening with our new era. Now Google knows me more than anyone else on this planet. That's why I keep most of the things off, my location off and stuff like that. When you understand what these people are doing, you will be more careful. So where did we divert from? It is from big data. So they are collecting data from all of these devices, from the IoT devices, and making sense of that data. That's why you see relevant ads and stuff like that. Data warehousing. Again, it has to do with big data. When you have the huge data, then you have to warehouse the data. That is, you want to store it in big warehouses. So that's what is data warehousing. We have support for data warehousing as well when you are working with Azure. That's pretty much about what the portal is saying about what Azure is. Coming to what happened recently. Kubernetes. So your containers. Whenever I'm working with VMs. VMs are pretty heavy. The modern way of hosting my application is Docker. I use Docker. to host my application. I use Docker services. So what is a Docker? It is a lightweight hosting environment to host my application. So Docker is one of the ways in which I can host my application. To orchestrate the Docker, I would be using Kubernetes. So AKS is a Kubernetes service. That is what is used to orchestrate the Docker. So Docker is orchestrated using the Kubernetes service. This is what I use when I'm going ahead and working with any of the Docker related operations. Again, there are a few supports now in GitHub for authenticating with Kubernetes. This is what happened just now, just 5 days back. We are on 11th now. It just happened 6 to 8. These are the things which are new improvements which are added. Your Docker support, your Kubernetes support for your DevOps portal. You will see that. On the DevOps portal, you will see Kubernetes now, which is much more sophisticatedly supported from now on. So if I just go to my release, you will see that Kubernetes is enabled there, and I use Kubernetes to deploy my application. We'll just have a look at it. We'll see to what extent we can explore it, but we'll just have a look at it. So these are the recent changes which are integrated. Let me just see. We put all, your Edge. Now Edge will use Chromium browser. So I hope you know that. If you don't know it, let me inform you. So your Edge will now use Chromium platform. What is Chromium platform? I'm using Chrome, right? Chrome is built on Chromium platform. That is an open source platform. Now they have dumped the current Edge, which is already in my operating system, Windows 10 operating system. They have dumped it, and they have used the open source Chromium. So Edge will now be built on top of the same platform on which Chrome is built. That is what they will be doing. They have done it, and you will be getting that release very soon. So now when you open Edge, you will be having the same feel, the way you are having a feel when you are working with Chrome, because both are using the same engine. There will be some nitty-gritty things which will be different, definitely, but it will be using the same engine which Chrome is using. That is what is another recent update which they did just now, which they disclosed just now, and hyperscale and stuff like that, and other 60 announcements. Figure out something is interesting, we'll just get into that. Otherwise, the cognitive services. What is a cognitive service? You know, Lewis. You have Lewis. So what is Lewis? It is a language understanding service. What will Lewis do for me? LUIS adds natural language understanding to your application. Like your OK Google, when you say OK Google, it will trigger your Google voice support software, right? OK Google, I'll say OK Google, the Siri of Apple. All of these are what? They are cognitive services. What is cognitive service? It can understand your language. Whatever language you speak, it can understand your language and it can answer your questions. That's smart. But how can I integrate that within my application? I am building a ASP.NET application. I want to integrate this kind of intelligence in my application. People should be able to speak to me from my application. How can I do it? By using this package. By using the Lewis package, which is a language understanding package. It can understand the language and it can answer accordingly. And it always learns and improves. That's one of the best benefits of using Lewis. You can learn. What do I mean by learn? You can train your bot. Once you are building your bot, you can train your bot to actually go ahead and understand your natural language. There are multiple ways in which you can build a bot and train a bot. we don't have that session as such where we will build a bot and train a bot and see that. It's all into bot building. So just whenever you have time, just look into it. It's a pretty smart way of building something which can understand you. You can integrate a bot which can understand you within your application, no matter what that application is. If it is a .NET application or a Java application or anything, you can go ahead and build a bot and you can integrate that within your application. That's what is your bot building, and it always learns. It learns from your interactions and from your suggestions. So now when I'm typing something in Gmail, I'm getting suggestions there. Can you do you see that now? It was not there just a month back. Since past 1 month, I'm getting recommendation on what I'm going to be typing in my Gmail. What is that? That is your text recognition. One is voice recognition. One is text recognition. I can have multiple things. So it can understand language. It can also understand text. Is IoT. These are all architectures which I can do. So if we speak about architectures, it's a totally different discussion. But you see that bot there, Azure bot service. So essentially, we can build bots by using Azure. Let me just see. There is text recognition. Something of this sort. You have bots which can understand text now. So you have multiple kinds of text. You have English US text and a Chinese text, a German text. So you have different kinds of text which people keep on typing from their devices. And you want to understand the text and make sense out of it and track your customer or whatever it is, depending upon what your application is doing. So essentially, you have text recognition services which are exposed to you by Azure. Your text to speech, your multiple text related products. Your text to speech, your content moderator, your speech to text, your text translator. If at all you are having some other language page which you are seeing, or some other language guy interacting with your application, then you can translate his text into appropriate thing. So that's what is your text translator. You have multiple services which can work with text. Your linguistic analysis. What is this? Each person has his own way of speaking, and you can confuse the software by speaking that way. Software can get confused. Previously, it was getting confused. My English, the way I speak English, is different from your English. Both of us are speaking English. If you just listen to my English and then listen to your English, if a third person listens to our both Englishes, essentially my language would be different and your language would be different. And if you want to put it in some other way, within India, if at all someone with some other language background, like Kerala background, when they speak English, it would be something different. With the accent and the way they put out things, it's different. And the way a Tamilian speaks English, it's different. It has its own accent. Even though it is English, it has its own accent. That's what is linguistic analytics. So essentially, you can the machine now can understand English no matter what is the pattern in which the English is being delivered. There are different patterns, right? Each one has a way of speaking. How are you doing today? I am saying it in a certain way, and a person with a Tamil background would say in a different way. With a Kerala background will say it in a different way. The same sentence, but in a different way. Previously, the language recognition softwares were pretty much confused. Even though it was the same sentence, they were pretty much confused. Now with linguistic analytics, so this is what is the modern way of understanding language. You can go ahead and allow systems to understand your language in a different way. Now they can understand no matter from which part of the globe. The Chinese saying, "How are you doing today?" would be different. And the German saying, "How are you doing today?" would be different. So all of that are understood now by the system. The system understands these different linguistics. Those are your linguistic services, which are available inside your Azure. That's about your cognitive services and linguistic services. That's where we diverted. Machine learning, we need not speak much about it. We are just looking at what are the new things which are done. I spoke about Kubernetes. We spoke about that just now, right? So it's all Kubernetes and containers, Docker and stuff. When you speak about Docker and Kubernetes, that's what is Kubernetes all about. The Cosmos DB, the document DB. We no longer store data in a database using RDBMS. If you know RDBMS, we are no longer using RDBMS to store data. We are using something called as NoSQL. So just do some reading around structured and unstructured data, because we don't want to discuss all that. I'll just give you some hints. Just do some reading around this structured and unstructured data. What is the difference? Unstructured data, as the name says, it's not structured. Facebook stores data as unstructured data. It would be like SQL and NoSQL. It would be something like this. So essentially, NoSQL databases will store data like this. SQL databases will store data like this in a proper arranged fashion. NoSQL databases, they don't have any arrangement. They are just everywhere. That's your NoSQL versus SQL. Just have a read around this of what is NoSQL, what is SQL, and why do we use it. All your modern websites like Facebook, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, all of your modern websites on your modern applications store data in a NoSQL way. They don't store it in a SQL way. They store it in a NoSQL way. Why NoSQL way? Just have a read around it. It is pretty much efficient for me to store data in a NoSQL way than storing it in a SQL way. In that way, I am making my application more performant. It is a more performant application when I am storing my data in a NoSQL database. So just have a read around NoSQL and SQL and structured versus unstructured. Just have a read around it so that you are comfortable when you actually hear to this. Why are all these things important to me? DevOps is all about you knowing everything. Development operations, the DevOps engineer, he knows everything. That's what is the expectation in the market. He should be capable of giving solutions to a problem whenever with the latest technologies. So it is like this. You are expected to know everything in your team, and you should be showing a path of how we can go and address a certain problem which is happening in your application. That's what is the expectation out of a DevOps engineer. If you don't know the very basics of what Cosmos DB is, of what document DB is, of what is big data, you should just know the concept. You need not implement it, but you should know the concept. Why you should know it? Because that is what is the expectation out of a DevOps engineer. He should be end-to-end smart. That's why they hire you as a DevOps engineer. You should be end-to-end smart in the sense you should be capable of getting the requirements from client. You should be capable of coding, definitely. Capable of testing, that is unit testing. capable of writing the CI/CD pipeline. That's your build and release, which we will see. You should be capable of production support. And you should be capable of giving suggestions for any future architectures. I'll say architectures. So you should be capable of doing these things. That's what is an expectation from a DevOps engineer. DevOps engineer is more than just a software engineer. You are capable of doing much more than the regular engineer. Over time, you will build this capability. The more and more knowledge you gather regarding the services which are happening and what are the changes which are happening. So by the time as years pass by or as months pass by, you should keep exploring these things of what goes where and what is the right solution for my problem at hand. You should have that knowledge as a DevOps engineer. You should be capable of doing these things. That is what is the expectation from your company. So just have a tap on what are your roles and responsibilities. A normal engineer, he would be only here, coding and unit testing. That's what he would be doing. That's a regular software engineer. A DevOps engineer is much more than a software engineer. He is much more than this, than only these two. He is much more than that. He is all this. He is more than that, but just take those lines into consideration. So he is much more than a regular software engineer. You should know Scrum, you should know Agile, you should know how to build and deploy your, how to build your CI/CD pipeline and stuff like that. You are expected to know all that. That's what is a DevOps engineer. So we're just running through what is new. .NET Core. In a DevOps, what has occurred? Kubernetes is something which he's saying which has happened. If I just go to releases, new pipeline, what is this? Kubernetes. This is what I was saying. So these are something which are which have been added recently, and they were there previously. Now more and more enhancements have been added to Kubernetes. When we speak about release deployment, we will be having Kubernetes there. That is what this is speaking about. Kubernetes. Your Kubernetes deployment. This is what they have added in the pipeline. You can see a new feature in the Azure pipeline makes it easier to deploy Kubernetes environment in any public cloud. This is something new which they have released, and I got it. In my release, I got it. You can see that there. I have the Kubernetes which they released recently. So that's your Kubernetes. So you should know, as I said, you should know to some extent what is what. What is Kubernetes? What is DevOps? What is Docker? What is cognitive services? All of this, whatever we are speaking about, you should know it. You need not actually go ahead and implement it to the implementation perspective. That's not how it is expected. But you should know it as a DevOps engineer that these are the things which I need to do. My battery is dying. Just give me a minute. I'll just pull my charger. Yeah. So there are quite a few things which are added recently. AAD, Azure Active Directory. What is that? To just give you a brief. As I said, you should know these things as a DevOps engineer. It's an expectation. So whenever you are using your code in your real-time application, you want to, let me put it this way. Whenever you are logging into your laptop in your corporate, what will it ask? It will ask for your employee ID and password. Where is this employee ID and password stored? It is stored in something called as Active Directory. 100% of the companies out there, not 99, 100% of the companies use Active Directory. They don't go with any other implementation. This is the most smartest implementation for managing your users of your any website of any corporate world. You have Active Directories which are being used. They just took Active Directory which is on-prem to the Azure, and they called it Azure Active Directory. That's it. They did nothing different. What is Azure Active Directory? It maintains the users which you are having inside your application. So Azure Active Directory, it is the way in which you store users inside your directory. So you have you see this here. So AAD, Azure Active Directory, for group membership. So essentially, you will create user groups inside your application, and you will have a group membership for your user groups. So that is what I'm saying. It is a way of storing your user information inside the cloud, Azure Active Directory. Just have a read around it and just understand it to some extent, in which when your interviewer is speaking to you and saying what do you know about Azure Active Directory, it should not be blank. Just do some reading around Azure Active Directory. Just know it. I'm not saying you should be able to implement it. Just know it. You should not be blank. When someone is asking you something, you should not be blank. Just have some answer to it instead of a blank answer. So many things which have happened recently. Yeah, we came to the end. So many things which have happened recently. Just go to the official website. You'll get a link to that Build 2019, which happened just 4 days back. You have your Build